Dear friends, Shana Tova once again. As many of you know, Temple Emanu-El has developed very close ties with Israel's diplomatic offices in New York. And throughout the year, we work together with them to strengthen liberal Jewry's commitment to Israel and Israel's commitment to liberal Jewry. Every year, we host the city's Yom HaZikaron Memorial Day service, one of the most moving experiences of the year. It fills our sanctuary. And through the consulate's generosity for 13 years now, we've been privileged each Rosh Hashanah to welcome Israel's Consul General in New York to greet us and offer insights on the goings-on in our spiritual homeland. But this year, the visit is, of course, one of particular poignancy, given all the painful challenges of the moment. So this afternoon, I'm truly honored and grateful to welcome back to Temple Emanu-El Ambassador Ophir Akunis. Having commenced his tenure in New York a year and a half ago, Ambassador Akunis oversees the diplomatic activity of Israel's New York consulate and so builds relationships with elected officials and community leaders across its large jurisdiction of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Delaware. Prior to arriving in New York, Ambassador Akunis headed multiple ministries of the Israeli government at critical moments. He served twice as Israel's Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, as Minister of Labor and Social Welfare, and as Minister of Regional Cooperation at the time of the signing of the Abraham Accords with the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, Kosovo, and Morocco. And we mark the 5th anniversary of that important initiative at this season. Ambassador Akunis was first elected to the Knesset in 2009 as a member of Likud. Along the way, he also served as its Deputy Speaker, Chair of the Knesset's Economic Committee, Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Office, Deputy Minister of Environmental Protection, and as a member of the Knesset Defense and Foreign Affairs Committee. Ophir is married to Adi and is father to Yonatan and Roni, who live in Tel Aviv. Personally, I look forward with gratitude to another year of partnership with him and with the consulate. And so on this first day of the new year, I'm deeply honored and most grateful to welcome back Israel's Consul General in New York, Ambassador Ophir Akunis.
Thank you so much. Shalom lekulam, Shana Tova umetuka, Tova yoter. It is an honor to be back again this year. Thank you, Rabbi Davidson, for inviting me to join your warm and inviting community. And more importantly, thank you all for your support toward the state of Israel and, as you said, our homeland. As the Jewish tradition states, at the beginning of each year, we pray for a better one ahead. So let's all pray and hope for a brighter, more peaceful, and blessed year to come. My friends, we closed out another year, and we must reflect on the past. It has been another tough year, and in my opinion, this is the most challenging time for Israel since our establishment in 1948. We are not only facing a battle on a 7-front battlefield, but one of lies and misinformation as well. This is the 8th front. We are living unfortunately, in an upside-down world, a world where many international leaders are forgetting what happened on October 7th and continue to put the pressure on Israel. And I want to ask those international leaders, did we invade Gaza on October 7th? Was it us who raped hundreds of women and burned people alive, whole families? Did we kidnap hundreds of innocent people? 251. We know what would you do if it happened in your country. So instead of criticizing Israel, they need to criticize the Hamas monsters. Instead of putting pressure on Israel to release our hostages, put the pressure on Hamas and Qatar to release them. No one needs to convince us that we want our brothers home. And my friends, as the General Assembly is happening this week, leaders from the United Kingdom, France, Australia, Canada, many more, have decided to reward the terrorists with the recognition of a Palestinian state. This is not about doing the right thing or trying to make peace, but rather serve as their small political interest within their own countries. They are pretending nothing will happen to their country. Well, it will. How do I know? Because Hamas was the first one to cheer on the recognition. By the way, especially after the British Prime Minister announcement. And the radical regimes, influences that has made it to their countries are saying it clearly, death to Israel, death to Europe, death to America. To prime ministers and presidents, you are acting like weak leaders, just like Chamberlain in the 30s toward the Nazis. Instead of standing against the Nazis, Chamberlain stood with them. He signed an agreement. Instead of standing against the modern Nazis, you are standing with them. History will remember your actions, and you will be known for these. Your actions will hurt Europe and your countries, just like Europe was hurt in the 30s. History, and unfortunately, history is repeating itself. And we must understand that when a fascist and racist regime wants to kill you, you better believe them. We saw that with the Nazis, and we have seen that with Hamas. My friends, we will never give up our land and never stop defending our people. And now, as we are defending ourselves, Hamas is using the support and launching modern-day blood libels, propaganda campaigns against the Jewish people, like then in the old days. So one of the most recent lies was the so-called starvation in the Gaza Strip. A campaign, very effective, I have to tell you. I was one of the first ones to say the truth against a lot of criticism, a lot. But it must be said, there isn't and hasn't been starvation in Gaza Strip, especially in Gaza City. We have seen the markets, restaurants, full of food and people since this operation started and before. We have not touched Gaza City before. If you ask me if that was a mistake, I would say yes. When we come to the table to debate, we must know the facts first. Debate needs to be based on facts, not feelings. Israel has shipped, and the facts are, Israel has shipped over 2 million tons of aid into the Gaza Strip. That's more than 1 ton of aid per person. I never heard such a thing. I never heard, even when the American troops shipped humanitarian aid to Afghanistan or to Iraq. And we continue to ship medicine and aid, while Hamas shoots and steals it from their own people. So is that fair? And yet, there is still criticism against Israel. Being asked today to stop our operation in Gaza while Hamas is still in power is like asking the allies of World War II to stop the war when the Nazis were still in power. So we will never apologize for defending our people and our existence. You all know we did not start the fire on that dark day and don't want to be in Gaza. But we must, by the way, as you know, actually, we withdrew from the Gaza Strip in that summer of 2005, ruined synagogues, ruined cemeteries. We did it. The Israeli parliament approved it. So Gaza was actually, how they are saying it, free Gaza. Yeah, so we freed Gaza then. These days we need to free Gaza from Hamas. And we must prevent another October 7th. That's the only reason that we are now, our forces, our troops, our beloved, brave, beautiful soldiers are in the Gaza Strip right now. There's no other reason. So this war, I have to tell you another thing. I think that this war is not only about defending the state of Israel, but it's about defending the entire Western civilization. We're in the middle of the clash of civilizations. This is the whole story. It's them or us, all of us. That's the only question, and I know the answer. And my friends, the state of Israel has shown its true strength and resilience over the past 2 years. We talked about October 7th, that dark day on Simchat Torah, Simchat Torah. How cruel they can be. How? Like October 6th, 1973, Yom Kippur, they invaded the state of Israel. On Yom Kippur, it's a shame. And now Simchat Torah. So, as I said, we are showing our true strength and resilience, and especially recently against the head of the snake. And the head of the snake, there's a name, Iran. Yeah, in our recent operation against the terror state, the regime has been weakened. Our goal was to target their nuclear and ballistic missile infrastructure, intercontinental missiles, toward Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Athens, Rome, Berlin, Paris, London, Manhattan, and Chicago. Yeah, Death to America, their infamous slogan from 1979. Yeah, Iran, Ayatollahs. So, with the help of the United States, we did it. As I said, the Iranian threat is not just a threat to Israel, it is a threat to the entire Western world. Because this is the goal of the Iranians, the Ayatollahs. I'm not talking about the Persians. I'm not talking about the I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about their leaders, the Ayatollahs. By the way, who led the permission to Ayatollah Khomeini to leave France in 1979 and to actually to lead the revolution in Tehran, in Iran? Yeah, it was France, of course, as usual. Yeah, we know them. I don't want to go to Dreyfus trial. I don't want to. I can't do it, but I don't want to. Not today. Maybe on our next meeting, because it's a long story with France. So, the Ayatollahs, the Houthis, wow, Houthis. Is there a territorial conflict between Yemen and Israel? I never heard about it. Yeah. Hezbollah ruined a beautiful country. Not only Hezbollah, the Syrians, and the Ayatollahs, there's all of them. The beautiful Christian land of Lebanon. Modern place. Fashionable streets, discotheques, bars. Unbelievable. They will preach us. Yeah. So the goal of the Ayatollahs is to destroy our democracies, our cultures, and our shared values. And believe them with what they are saying. Believe their imams, their Ayatollahs. Believe their leaders. I believe them, and we must all. My friends, with the new year approaching us actually today, I would like to be optimistic as well. It's not, it's not only the bad things, it's the good things as well. We are seeing a new Middle East being created right in front of our eyes. Iranian proxies like Hezbollah and the Houthis are weakened. And Hamas is on its way to being destroyed, finally. Finally, after almost 40 years, Hamas established, I think it was 1987, 1988. I was in high school in Tel Aviv. Yeah, you mentioned my city. Yeah, Tel Aviv, Gymnasia Herzliya, named by the greatest Zionist leader of all times, Herzl, Binyamin Ze'ev Herzl. And they wrote, I read it. Yeah, I used to listen to popular music, to American pop, American culture, to listen to music, but also to the news. And I read, our goal, first paragraph in their charter, they wrote it in 1988, to destroy the Jewish state, the Jewish state, and to establish a Muslim statehood instead, not beside. Not a two-state solution, one-state solution, a Muslim statehood. Then they kidnapped 2 soldiers, then they explode themselves in Dizengoff Square. I saw, oh my God, this is awful. I saw 22 bodies lying on the sidewalk of Dizengoff Street. It was bus number 5. It was a beautiful morning in Tel Aviv. And the Dolphinarium and they kidnapped the 3 teenagers from Gush Etzion a few days before Protective Edge operation. So it's not October 7th, it's their whole ideology. But I would like to be optimistic. We are seeing a new Middle East, as I said. Iranian proxies and Hezbollahs and Houthis are weakened. And as I said, Hamas is on its way to being destroyed. Through all the conflicts, Israel keeps the door open to peace. You mentioned the Ministry of Regional Cooperation, and I'm saying here, right now, this morning, anyone, any nation can join the Abraham Accords. I mentioned Lebanon. As I said, there is no territorial disagreement with Lebanon. Hezbollah is the only problem. If Hezbollah will not be there, you will see that Israel and Lebanon, I hope that it will be in Washington, like we signed the Abraham Accords, and the peace with Jordan, and the peace with Egypt, in the same place, in the White House in Washington, we can sign a new agreement with the Lebanese as well. And the others, I have to tell you. Without the Iranians, without their proxies, we can sign peace treaties with Syria, with Saudi Arabia. We did it with Jordan and with Egypt, the Emirates, Bahrain. One of my best visits as Minister of Science and Technology, I traveled to Morocco. I signed a new agreement to collaborate, to cooperate in the fields of agri-tech, water tech, cyber tech. Why not? There's no terrorists there. That's the answer. And I think, my friends, that peace is always on the table from our side, but as I said, not with terrorists who want to see us erased from the map. I'm calling from here to our neighbors, come to the table, join us in creating a Middle East that all can live in peace and can prosper for generations to come. To close, my friends, as we enter this new year, we must all do cheshbon nefesh. I'm always doing it, actually every day. And Rosh Hashanah is a good proof, reminder to do it. We have made many mistakes this year, but as the new year is upon us, it gives us the opportunity to strive to be better. Let us remember the traditions and ideas of Rosh Hashanah. We should always be like the head and not the tail. To lead, that's what we need. I have to tell you that I have an appreciation to leaders, to people who lead, not to weak leaders, who are influenced by certain populations in their countries. Instead of lead, they lead them. We should remember our past, but think toward the future. Let us always strive to be at the forefront of the truth, like the state of Israel continues to do. We must lead with truth, lead with the ideas of peace, democracy, and human rights. You can find none of them in the Gaza Strip, none of them. And I want to ask the LGBTQ community here in Manhattan or in California or in Europe, can you march? Can you do it in the Gaza Strip? Can you do it in Tehran? Can you do it in Beirut? When was the first gay parade in the Middle East? By the way, the only one. 1998. Almost 30 years ago. During that time, the Gazans throw gays and lesbians from the roofs of their homes in Gaza. They need cheshbon nefesh. Yes, they need to do a cheshbon nefesh. All of us, but they must do a cheshbon nefesh, a deep one. Yeah. Now, we need to lead with the values that define who are as both Americans and Israelis. We must remember that we'll still have 48 remaining hostages being held by Hamas, our brothers and one sister. And I'm saying here to Hamas and Qatar as well, you are responsible for them and their safety. And we must continue to pressure both to release them all now. The Qataris, they built the tunnels with their own money. Yeah? They built the tunnels. We didn't. The Qataris built the tunnels. Now those hypocrites are hosting the negotiations to release. If they want, they can release them today. Because if we all of us, instead of wasting our time, excuse me, I'm always saying the truth, to put the pressure on the Israeli government, all of us will put the pressure on Qatar and Hamas through Qatar, of course. So the remaining 48 hostages will be free. Now, about our brave soldiers of the IDF and the other security forces, I salute them. We all need to salute them because they are the new Maccabees. We found the new Maccabees. We'll celebrate Hanukkah in 2 months or something like that, almost. So that was the last time that the Jewish people fought for their independence. Now they are doing it. None of them wants to be in Gaza. None of them. We don't want them to be in Gaza. We want them to celebrate Rosh Hashanah with their families, with their brothers, with their sisters. But we must be there until the Hamas will not be there. Now, as I've been saying for the past more than 30 years, to close out my Rosh Hashanah speeches, תחל שנה וברכותיה, תכלה שנה וקללותיה. A year begins with its blessings, a year ends with its curses. שנה טובה, מתוקה, a much better year to all of us, to your families, to the Jewish communities here in the United States, all around the world, and in our homeland, the beautiful state of Israel. Thank you so much. שנה טובה, חג שמח. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Akunis, so much. The ambassador is able to take a number of questions. We have till 1:15, and then he'll have to depart.
Yeah.
I am going to ask you to phrase whatever you're going to say in the form of a question, so that the ambassador can answer.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
If you can say your name before, I'll be glad.
Hi, Lawrence Loeb. Israel has been doing very well for the last, I don't know, since before, well, around the time I was born in terms of kinetic warfare. Why are you losing the information war? Hamas has taken advantage of the youth of the Western world by taking advantage of social media.
I agree.
And in 1945, everybody was sorry for the Jews and what we'd gone through with the Nazis. And now they're taking advantage of that, the love of the underdog. And they're showing what, I mean, they're taking things from other wars and portraying it to be them. Why can't, I mean, I know we don't want to use the people that were harmed on October 7th, even though we have the tapes that they made.
Yep.
But we've got the evidence. Why can't we do better?
Of course. Maybe we'll take a few questions and I'll answer in a row. Yeah.
Okay. So
Thank
that's
you.
one. Okay, let's take. That was your question. Okay, thank you.
First of all, thank you for coming. I recently had an opportunity to speak with Amichai Ayalon, former commander of the Israeli Navy, former director of Shin Bet. One of the things that came up, and here's the question, what is the exit plan with Bezalel and Smotrich, and they keep saying we're going to take over Gaza. We've got a guy who's at the UN now who's saying he wants to build casinos in Gaza. What's the exit plan? How do we get out of this?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, you want to do one more? And then you'll answer three?
Yeah, no, please.
Okay, let's do
another
one more.
one, maybe.
I served with the Shah in Shah Golan.
With whom?
Shah Golan.
Yeah.
I worked. And in '73, I drove an evacuation vehicle, and it seems like the cell parallel. I have a question. The question I have is, I haven't heard anybody on outside say to Hamas, change your charter and we will have peace. But as long as that destructive charter exists, you'll never have peace.
Yeah.
It's a simple fact. I'm in business and I've seen anti-Semitism firsthand. They don't like us, period.
I agree. It's not a question. I just agree. Yeah, please. So, about the information and the Hasbara issue, I remember I was very young. I saw an interview with the, huge leader, I have to tell you, Golda Meir. And it was an old movie. It wasn't a live broadcast because I was 5 years old when she passed away. It was December 1978 that she passed away. But I saw it, I think it was 25 years ago, something like that. I saw it. It was 2 hours interview with Golda Meir. And someone asked her from the audience, I think, what about the Hasbara? It's the same question. And she said, I prefer to leave than a good Hasbara. Golda Meir said it, the leader of the Labour Party. She said it. And I want to say to you, we prefer to live and the good Hasbara as well. And good Hasbara beside, and information, of course. And I have to tell you that you said that Hamas, that they are winning the Hasbara and the PR, and it's not Hamas, it's Qatar. For the last 30 years, Qatar bought faculties, professors, students. It's not just by accident. There's hundreds of students chanting and yelling in front of Grand Central railway station, here in Manhattan, Death to America. They're funded by Qatar. So it's all from Qatar. I think that, I don't know, I can't be, and I don't want to be part of, and I never will be as an Israeli citizen, part of the American policy, because this is your policy. But maybe you should, as Americans, say to your leaders that's enough with them, with Qatar. They can, I'm not against a free economy. They can buy whatever they want, but they are trying actually to use their money to destroy the modern democracies, including here in the United States, in Israel as well. And they are doing it with a lot of money, a lot of money. We don't have this budget, I have to tell you, but we are trying to do. And it's very difficult when one very famous daily newspaper, it's unbelievable that they did it. I will not mention his name. They took cystic fibrosis, a 5-year-old child who suffers from cystic fibrosis, is in Italy. He's not in the Gaza Strip, he's not in Israel, he's not in Sheba, he's not in Ichilov. And they published on the very first, the front page, his picture. Now, that was a lie. And they are not the only one, unfortunately. That's why I'm asking from all of us to learn the facts before we are coming to any debate. And I'm talking about the starvation, I'm talking about this that was part of the starvation campaign. They just took a picture, a fake picture, and they published. So we are doing whatever we can. By the way, we bought a very small, it wasn't so small, it was small. It was smaller than Nike or smaller than Coca-Cola billboard in Times Square. And we it's difficult because we know the family. We showed Eviatar David hostages, the hostage Eviatar David, and 1 week later, Ron Braslavsky, another hostage, that actually they are suffering from starvation in the Gaza Strip, and a lot of people, millions, saw it not only in Times Square, but through the social media. So we are doing whatever we can, and we need to do it every time, and to fight for the truth. Stop with all these lies. Yeah? Starvation and genocide. What was? And you mentioned their charter before. Yeah, you mentioned Hamas charter. They will not change their charter because without this charter, they will not be Hamas. Okay, so they will not do it. Don't count on it. They want to destroy the state of Israel. This is part of the Islamic jihad. These people are jihadists. They want to destroy, not the state of Israel is just as simple. It's just as simple. Europe is their main goal. By the way, I suppose that you remember the very famous main idea of the Ayatollahs, and the proxies, the small Satan Israel, the little Satan, the small Satan Israel, the middle Satan, Europe, and the big Satan, the United States of America. They don't want us, they want themselves, and I'm so sorry for President Macron, for the British Prime Minister, that they prefer not to defend their people and their legacy. They prefer to be nice to those people there who already occupied whole neighborhoods in London, in Paris, in Sweden, you name it. And we know that this is the truth. It's not politically correct, but this is the truth. I prefer not to be politically correct. I prefer to reflect the truth. And Europe is in a very, very bad situation. And we will not be victims again. Okay? We will not be victim of the weakness of Europe, because I remember my late grandmother, she was born in Warsaw in 1924. She was, 14 years old when she saw the Nazis invaded to Warsaw, killed her sister. It's unbelievable. And then she escaped to Russia. She escaped east, and she saved herself. So, Europe can preach us with all the respect. We don't have a two-state solution. Abba Evan used to say, and Abba Evan was a great leader I'm just quoting leaders from Labour Party. I don't know why, but they used to be, some of them, very proud Jews. And he said about the Palestinians, he said, they never missed opportunity to miss opportunity. So you mentioned their charter, you mentioned the Asbara issue, and I remember when Prime Minister Barak offered Yasser Arafat 99% of Judea, Samaria, and the old city of Jerusalem. What was his answer? No, I want more. Then Prime Minister Olmert offered the two-state solution to Abu Mazen, the current Palestinian leader, and he never, by the way, he never answered. Arafat said no and launched the second intifada, okay? But Abu Mazen never answered to Prime Minister Olmert, okay? And a lot of other suggestions. And about your question, if we want to take over Gaza, the answer is no. This is not our policy. As I said, I mentioned the Knesset decision to withdraw from the Gaza Strip. It was August 2005. We did it, the disengagement plan. There's a lot of people in Israel who are actually, they are thinking that one of the reasons to October 7th was that cruel summer of 2005, because we withdraw to the current borders. Actually, Be'eri and the fence, it was so like from here to, I don't know, the other side of the sidewalk near the Central Park, something like that. And they just kidnap people instead. And by the way, they kidnapped and murdered people who helped them, come to Israel. I saw in my own eyes a Palestinian family in Gaza in Ichilov Hospital in Tel Aviv. I saw nothing happened to me. I said, that's good. I'm not against it, but it's, if someone, and there's a lot, unfortunately, not someone, a lot of Gazans who invaded to the state of Israel after the Nukhbas. So the Nukhbas came first. They invaded at something like 6:30, and then other people, just civilians. There's no one Hasid Umot Olam. One Hasid Umot Olam. We know Hasidei Umot Olam from Sweden, from the Netherlands, from United Kingdom, from France, by the way, from France as well, but not from Gaza. But even though we don't want to take over Gaza, this is not our policy. We don't want to take over Lebanon. We don't want to take over Syria, nothing. We just want to live. And we must live while our borders are secure. And we can't defend ourselves from 67 lines, and everybody knows it, not in the Golan Heights. And if we'll sign a treaty, a kind of a security treaty with Syria, we said to Jolani, I think that he's already here in the city. Yeah, he's here. Yeah, we said that the Golan Heights will be in our hands because this is a part of the Jewish homeland. There's a lot of synagogues there, much more than mosques, by the way. Judea, Samaria, that's it. So about Gaza, it's not our policy, and I want to see the Gazans actually living their own life without Hamas, with their own new leadership, but without any terrorist there anymore. And I think and I want that next time that you will be in Israel, it will be after the war, after the 48 hostages will release and come to their families, to their homeland, and we'll see much, much, much better days to the state of Israel and the Jewish communities around the world. Thank you so much. Chatima tova, Shana tova, toda rabba. It was a pleasure as usual.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you.
Pleasure as usual. Thank you so much for having me.
Shana Tova, everyone.
תודה
Thank
לכם.
you.
חג שמח. תודה רבה. So we'll meet before Yom HaZikaron.